Hey Stoners, welcome to another edition of Sticks-n-Stonez. I'm your host, Brent Elrod, the Bourbon Baron, coming to you from the cozy confines here on the patio at the No Shoes Bar and Grill. And I have a very interesting pairing today. I went way back in the whiskey shelf to pull out my Redemptiom Rye Rum Cask, which I don't think I've paired it in a couple of years. I had to get the dust off the bottle, but you know, hey, just gets better with age, right? And I am pairing that. This is kind of the peculiar part because I've just kind of started seeing some things about this cigar here recently, and I don't know if it's just me missing out on something or whatever, but I am pairing that with a BoneShaker Full Body cask. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup, so right after this, we are going to pop the cork, cut the stick, and get to toasting. Now, the BoneShaker, I bought it from JR Cigars on a whim, and there will be a link in the show description for the podcast when the podcast pops up. Excuse me. And that way you can click the link and go straight to JR Cigars and find this stick after you've heard what I think about it, or while you're listening to what I think about it. This particular stick has a Ecuadorian wrapper, a Connecticut broadleaf binder, and the filler is all Nicaraguan tobaccos. This particular stick is a 5x56 Belicos, got the torpedo-shaped end on it, and actually most torpedoes that I've smoked have been a little bit rounder. This one does have a really fairly sharp point out at the end of it, so be careful. Don't hurt yourself. Good PSA there. Now, visually, this is an absolutely beautiful stick. I mean, it almost looks like you've sprayed it with a little bit of oil, you know, just to give it a nice sheen. It's just an absolutely beautiful roasted coffee bean or medium to dark chocolate brown. It has basically invisible seams, minimal veining, and a flawless triple cap that they did a very good job of. Some of them you'll see there'll be little ripples and things like that there at the end, but not this. They did a good job on this one. Now on the nose. I get some hints of chocolate, a little peppery spice, kind of like a black pepper. Some espresso, a little bit of kind of maybe like a dried fruit aroma, some cedar, and a little bit of oily nuts like a walnut. It's got some great aromas on this stick too. I'm really excited about this. This might have been a very good purchase. We're gonna see. Now let's go ahead and give it a cut. Test out the cold draw using my C-Car V-Cutter. And I still have not been able to find my Rocky Patel Envoy 5-torch lighter, and it is about to make me cry. That was my favorite lighter. Love that lighter. Wonderful V-cut, and the wrapper stayed together very well. Again, I don't usually go for a torpedo, but sometimes they will tend to kind of come apart because of the way it's shaped there at the end. So, you know, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and since I've already shown it to you, I'm gonna go ahead and take the band off of it. It's a double band. It's got the full body cask, which they think is what you're gonna have to be wearing after you're done with this stick. It is supposed to be rather strong. I'll go ahead and take this one off too because it's a fairly short stick, so I'm not expecting a really extended burn time on it. Maybe 45 minutes or so. We'll see. So now, lighter. This is as close as I can get to the 5 torch. This is a 4. I can tell you, it has a very easy draw to it. And these are extremely budget friendly. I'm talking like $4 a stick, $5 a stick maybe. I got a 5-pack, and so far so good. Like I said, it's a very easy draw on it, but not overly easy where you're going to end up overdrawing. Not, like your checking account. All right, I get a little bit of kind of a creamy chocolate. There's some maltiness in there, a little bit of dried fruit as there was on the nose, some like caramelized sugar, some kind of cinnamon and coffee flavors. And to me, there's a hint of tart citrus in it. You just got a little of that on your on your tongue, right along the sides. And I believe there is a little bit of salinity to it. Now, Redemption. Love that sound. It has been a long time since I have had this bottle out. I paired it once before, but I think it was probably my first season. I've looked back and can't find it, but I do remember doing it. So, all right. Visually, it is just a beautiful, beautiful golden color. Kind of like, I don't know, maybe hay or straw, something like that, maybe just a little bit darker than that. This is a straight rye that is finished in rum casks for a minimum of 3 months. The Deutsch Family Wine and Spirits is the producer. It is 94 proof, so 47% ABV. It is a non-age statement whiskey. Again, said to have been finished 3 months or more in rum casks. And the Mashbill is 95% rye, 5% malted barley. So it's going to have some spice to it. I guarantee it. Now, on the nose, and I'm sorry if I'm like fidgeting around a little bit. I've been in the pool, so I'm kind of wet. That's what she said. Yeah, there's a lot of rye spice on the nose, along with some cinnamon, and it's a sweetness, but it's more of a deep sweetness like a molasses rather than a lighter sweetness like sugar. I get some vanilla, and then I do pick up some oak on it as well. Okay, moment we've all been waiting for. Let's give it a try. Yeah, heavy on the rye spice, but with cinnamon, and again with the molasses, maybe even some kind of brown sugar in there. And it could be that instead of molasses, it is a dark brown sugar. Now you're getting into intricacies in the palate. It is a wonderful mix of sweet and salty. And it has some very nice legs on it, clings to the glass really well. It's slightly viscous, not a lot, just a little. And it does have a kind of a medium to long finish. I'm still getting some finish even now after I've been talking for 45 seconds or so. I have another sip. Yeah, that is, I'd forgotten how good this was. I may have to put this into the rotation a little more often. Now, together. That is a really, really good blend of, you've got the heavy rye spice, but with a little underlying sweetness. And then you also have some spiciness in the stick, but also with the chocolate and molasses and those things in the stick. Sorry. And I think they just go together very, very well. I'm really surprised. And I'm telling you, together, the spiciness is off the chain. I mean, it is a very spicy combo. Now, this is they say medium to full strength cigar. I think it's probably leaning a little more towards the full strength. So if you're new to the cigar smoking niche, obsession, whatever you want to call it, you might not want to start with this one. You probably need to work your way up. Start in the minor leagues before you go to the major leagues. But that is just an absolutely excellent stick to be like $4. I mean, you're going to pay that much for King Edward's or Swisher's at the convenience store, maybe even more. And these are very, very good. Handmade in Nicaragua or somewhere there nearabouts. That is so good. I'm going to really enjoy this, I know. And I keep getting that little kind of citrusy tart on the sides or even on the back of my tongue. And it just, I mean, it's there really quickly. And if you have to think about it too long, you miss it. And there's some nice pepper notes on the retro. But to be full strength, I mean, I think the average cigar smoker could probably handle it. You just don't want to be a novice. I've made myself sick on cigars a few times. Wow. Spent a couple hours out in the pool, had a couple of Yinling Lights. That's my favorite beer. Love the Yinling. I was so happy when they brought Yinling to Texas. I was like, yes. So I got the condo down in Florida, and so we would drive down, had little kids, so you got to drive, and you got to drive at night, you know. So you want them to sleep, so they're not asking how far every few minutes. But I would always buy like a case and bring back. It was kind of like Smokey and the Bandit in reverse. I was taking it from Florida to Texarkana, not the other way around. I'm west of Texarkana. I'm in Dallas. But, you know. And if you've never seen that movie, you're missing out on some quality entertainment right there. Jackie Gleason, he's funny as he could be. But that is not a politically correct movie. Not as bad as like Blazing Saddles and stuff, which are excellent movies too. If you know me well enough, you know I'm not a politically correct guy. Just correct. So I hope they don't kick me off for having the TV in the background. I can watch it in the reflection on the glass of the breakfast room window. So I've been kind of keeping up with what's going on. My Saints were playing today. I've been out here for a couple hours. Haven't heard if they've lost or won. It's not a good time to be a Saints fan again. The Drew Brees days are over for a while. Nothing wrong with Derek Carr. I mean, he's done a pretty good job in places he's been, but yeah, and it's really, Sean Payton. Got to have a good head coach. Got to have, which the Aggies hoping they got a good head coach. Mike Elko checks all the boxes. Now we're going to be able to see if he can run with the big dogs. You in the SEC, that's the big dogs like St. Bernards and Great Danes. So Texas, they're going to enjoy it. Yeah, they're the Texas and Oklahoma. About the 4th or 5th game of the season, they're going to be like, what do we sign up for? Because every week you are playing somebody that could kick your butt. Now that Nick Saban's gone, we'll see what Alabama does. But, my next door neighbor, he's an Alabama guy. He's been able to do a lot of crowing, because the Aggies have been not so good. But we have high hopes. I think if they can end up getting out of this season with 3 losses, I think that's a successful season. Won't get them into the playoffs, but Aggie fans are tired of 6-5 and 5-6. We could do that without a head coach. Just let them get out there and play. It's a little bit of trivia for you. The most lopsided win or loss, however you want to look at it, in college football history, Georgia Tech and Cumberland. I think it was Cumberland University or College of Cumberland, something like that. It was in Nashville. It's 228-0. And they called the game at the end of the third quarter. They just gave up. Like, there's no need to even play in the last 15 minutes. There's no way y'all can even score a point. You get to thinking about it, and you calculate the time. It was like Georgia Tech was scoring a touchdown like every minute and a half. We don't have to worry about being there. It's hot out here. I got to have something a little cooler. Although it's not as hot as it was. It's in the upper 90s now, and there's a nice little breeze. Hoping that the 105s are over. This is still, it's a really, really great stick. It has a really nice burn line to it. Just a little bit wavy, not much. And beautiful stacks of white and gray ash. This is, I was hoping this was going to be a good pairing. This is actually a really amazing cigar. Considering, where it came from. You're talking a $4 or $5 stick. This is not a $15 Padron or $12 Rocky Patel or, add in your big manufacturer of choice, Macanudo, or Romeo and Julieta, all that. Oh no, these are, never heard of them until I saw it on JR Cigars, and I'm like, I'll give it a try. Because I think the 5-pack was like, I don't know, $20, something like that. And I was ordering some other things, so some other things that I knew, and I knew they'd be okay, and I'm like, if they end up with one 5-pack that is not any good, well, I'll give them to friends when they come over, and tell them how good it is. Oh, it's a wonderful stick. You're going to love it. But no, this is actually a really good cigar. Really good. And it's got a nice burn to it. It is not burning super fast, but it's also not burning really slow. I mean, we're probably 10 minutes into the burn, and we're somewhere between a quarter and a third. So we're getting very close to the halfway mark. And I do not remember this Redemption being this good. But I will say, I kind of have an idea of about when I reviewed this, and I think it was about the same time we were having to have all the work done in the house after Winter Storm Uri. The entire downstairs was flooded. I had to rip out all kinds of sheetrock, completely redo the kitchen. All this is like $200,000, $250,000 worth of damage. And we ended up in an apartment for like 8 months, and I think about then is when I did that review. I think I remember we had a 3-bedroom apartment, and one of the bedrooms was my office because I worked from home. And I think I remember reviewing it when we were over there. If anybody is in the market for a condo in Florida, we are looking to leave the Florida market and move a little closer to where we are here. Not like what, because we're nowhere near the ocean. We're 6 hours from the ocean. But, just move over this way a little bit. And so we have a condo for sale in Panama City. It's on Zillow. Shores of Panama, number 1615. If you're looking for a condo, it's got a wonderful view, $1 million pool, tiki bar from like spring break all the way through, I think, Labor Day. Tiki bar there on site. They have a little snack thing down there, snack hut that does hamburgers, chicken fingers, all that kind of stuff, right on the beach. Got a beautiful stretch of beach. Go check it out. And I will say now, and I'm gonna let me give it a really close inspection here. I just thought about this. Yeah, I cannot find a seam line in this cigar anywhere. It's got a couple of pronounced veins, pretty much ones that run up each side of the cigar on 2 sides. And then there's some little minimal veining coming off from that, but you can't see a single seam. That's, even though you'll say minimal seaming, you can still kind of see them. I can't even remember the last one where I could not find a seam on a stick. It's quality construction. And I'll give I'm gonna tap this off because I'm afraid it'll fall in my lap. I will give you the public service announcement like the stock people do about whether they own a stock or not. I bought these myself. I did not. I was given no gratuities to review this. I just saw it on JR. I'm like, hey, that might be like a really budget-friendly cigar, like a super budget-friendly cigar. And if it's not any good, it's not any good. But it's really surprising. It's really surprising. It is definitely full bodied. It has ramped up in strength as we've gone along. Here it's a half. The cigar has brought out some more fruits. It's not, these are not in the dried fruit realm, although that's still there. I'm getting a little more like cherries, maybe some pears. The cinnamon has become stronger. So if the more cinnamon, you'll pick up a little more spice as you get a higher amount of cinnamon in something that you're baking or whatever. And so you're getting that flavor has kind of ramped up and become a little more spicy. It is definitely going to be a full-bodied anvil, that's for sure. Don't smoke this too fast. I have the timer on showing how long the show is going, so I kind of know how long I'm going, and I want to make sure I don't overdo it. So. And the Redemptiom Rum Cask is a really, really great match to this cigar. I'm really pleased, considering this was kind of a shot in the dark. Also, one thing I've noticed is, as I have been smoking this cigar, it's almost like it's shedding the saliva off. It's not getting damp and mushy at the end. No, it's still going. It's like, just keep going. You're all right. Another little bit of tobacco there. Not to go into a bad area, but we're 70-something days from the election, and I don't know, I'm worried. If you know me well, you know I'm not a Republican, not a Democrat. I'm a registered Libertarian. I am a card-carrying member of the Libertarian Party. I'm not one of those that is like way off out there that taxation is theft, and which it kind of is, because they're saying this was a voluntary tax, but if you don't pay it, we'll come take everything you got. That doesn't sound like voluntary, but I don't ascribe to that. I believe the government needs funds to operate, and it is up to all of us to contribute to that. But they're doing a whole lot more than what they should be doing. So, and I'm afraid if the one person gets in, she's going to make them do a whole lot more than what they're already doing. So, not trying to tell you who to vote for or anything like that, but one of the things that you may see batted around is unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains. And you may be like, that doesn't sound like anything that's going to affect me. Well, don't be so quick, because an unrealized gain, probably the easiest example is if you own a home. You bought the home 10 years ago for $350,000. The housing market in Texas, even now with the recession or not a recession, inflation the way it is, still the housing market is just booming because there's so many companies moving here and they're bringing people in. But if you bought a house for $350,000 and you lived in it 8 or 10 years, and it's now worth $750,000. If this tax on unrealized gains come in, like she says with everything else, it's going to be on day one, you would have to pay tax on the difference between the value when you bought it and the value when you file your taxes, or at the end of that year, So you'd have to pay tax on $400,000. And the next year, if it goes up some more, you'd have to pay tax on that difference. And the next year, if it goes up some more, you have to pay tax on. You'd be constantly, as long as your house continued to appreciate, you continue to pay tax on it, on top of the property taxes you already have to pay for it. But the point is, it's unrealized gain. You don't get the money until you sell the asset, but you're still having to pay tax on it. That's not a good thing. Everybody just end up living in apartments and say, F it, it's not worth having a house. Can't own a stock, because if you own a stock and the stock appreciates, got to pay tax. The only caveat to that would be if it's in an IRA or 401k, you know, it's tax deferred. But if you own a regular stock account, I think there's some tax already in there anyway, but I've been drinking, so. No, actually, there's tax on the dividends. That's, most of my stocks are dividend stocks. I hardly own a stock that doesn't pay a dividend. There's a few tech stocks that I own that, you know, but like I bought Eli Lilly, $75 a share. It's right now it's running at $950 a share. That means I'd be paying tax on $875 for every share I owned. Trust me, I don't own a lot. So, you know, feel free every time I'm on. You'll get great. We'll give out other financial tips as we go. So. I just cannot get over this stick. I have another little. I'd love to know what you think about the show. I can see, you know, when there's people on. I do the live stream on my phone. I can't see if there's any comments or not. I'm somewhat tech literate, but I'm somewhat tech illiterate. If you watch some of my past episodes, you know that. Probably set that down for just a second. Won't get much more. I think I just need just a touch more. Promise I will not pour heavy. See? Not heavy. There we go. Mrs. Sticks-n-Stonez, she wonders why the plants that are here in the back, why they seem to be doing better than the ones. She's got a couple of pots out on the front doorstep, and they struggle out there. And I think I'm not a lawn and gardener guy. Matter of fact, I have a group of Mexicans that do they mow my yard for me. I don't do it. I got past all that when I moved to Texas. Number one, there's not a whole lot, and it doesn't really seem, I don't really want to spend my Saturday or Sunday doing that. And they can do it a whole lot quicker and do a lot better job than I do. So, but I think it's because our house faces west, and the sun that the plants get on this side of the house is like morning and midday sun, and then by noon it's up overhead, starting to kind of shade back here just a little bit. And I think that those there in the front, they get like the worst part of the day sun, like mid to late afternoon sun, because that's when it's like already gotten up to like, well, last week it's like 105. Trying to be very gentle on it, trying to make that last. I don't want to be pouring anymore. I don't want to overdo it. And I really don't drink any during the week. You know, if I'm having something, I want to I'm going to have, an episode, something I want to try. I may have a little sip of it, but I don't like that. Or like during the winter, you want to have, it's cold outside. You got a fire roaring in the fireplace, and you want to have a Kahlua and cream. But other than that, I don't. It's like when I was out in the pool today, I had 2 beers, light beer, watching my figure. Yeah, if nobody has noticed, I've lost 55 pounds. And that's been over the course of, since August, 14 months. I'm really trying to lose another, like 3 or 4, but that's been the hardest so far. You're getting down near the end, and your body is just like, I don't know if you need to lose those, but the doctors, when you look at what they say you're supposed to weigh, I'm supposed to weigh like 175 pounds. Like, I'm 6'3". You put me in 175 pounds, and I'm going to look sick. But when I put my swim trunks on today, this is like the second or third pair I've had on this weekend, because we spend a lot of time in the pool here at the No Shoes Bar and Grill. And I'm like, all of my swim trunks are like tents on me. I'm going to have to buy some new ones that are extra large, because I used to be a double extra large. Or like they say in the country where I'm from, the big sumbitch size. Well, I think we're probably getting close enough that I can go ahead and wrap this up, particularly with this stick. And I will say that because there hasn't really been any noticeable change in this last half. But it is not a stick that is for the faint of heart. I've smoked it in about a half hour. I probably could have done better, maybe a little bit longer, but I don't feel it. We'll see how it goes once I'm done here. But it is a kind of a full strength monster, and it is an awesome cigar for $4 or $5 a stick. It really is. If you haven't heard of the BoneShakers, they're called that for a reason. And you need to go to JR Cigars and try them out. Like I said, there will be a link in the description of the podcast when the podcast posts on Spotify. You definitely need to try them. Very budget friendly. It's easy to keep a bunch of them in your humidor. And this is not the only size or blend that they have. They have others. So I'll probably be trying some more of these as we go along. Who knows? Maybe I might be able to get hooked up with these BoneShaker people. I would give the stick. I'd give the stick like an 88. It had decent complexity. It was extremely strong, and it was really great construction. I just don't want to be too overjoyed about it, given that I'd never heard of them before. I'll have to smoke the other 4 I've got, and then maybe order some more, and kind of see how the consistency goes. It could be that the very next stick's terrible. I don't know. We'll find out, because I'd never heard of them before. Now, the Redemption Rye, I would give the Redemption, I would say that spirit is, I'd give it a 90. I like rye. I'm not a huge rye fan. I always tell my wife that rye is making a comeback. But I've been saying that for like 7 or 8 years. But the Rum Cask finish gives you enough sweet and enough the different flavors that come with the rum to just kind of take the edge off of rye. Rye is as I've said all through this, rye is a very spicy spirit, and some people don't like it that well because it's so spicy. They're used to rum or bourbon or And when you're talking like bourbon, bourbon has to be 51% corn. It's going to be significantly sweeter than rye, even though it's not like sweet like a liqueur sweet, you know. It's just when you're talking about whiskeys, it's going to be a different level of sweet than a rye. And that's one thing that makes whiskey so interesting, is you have rye and wheated and bourbon and Scotch and all the different, then you get, when you get over into Scotch, you get all the different Scotch regions within Scotland, and they are totally different. You know, when you go from Speyside to Islay, Scotland is not that big of a country, but there is a wide swath of differences in the Scotches, depending on where it was made and how it was made. So the Redemption, this rum cask, is a very good rye. And if you kind of wanted to try rye out and you haven't had it before, it'd be a good place to start. And for those that have drink rye regularly, give it a try. You might, it's not, the sweetness that's in it and the flavors that are in it are not overbearing. It's just kind of nice to have that in there. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've enjoyed bringing it to you. I cannot wait to get back together again with you. I am really happy to be back doing episodes again. And before we get together again, keep your sticks dry, your stones cold, and have a great day.